Hey there, folks, and welcome. My name is Josh, and today I have an exciting event for you. We're here today making Vietnamese pizza with one of our favorite chefs, Ha Rhoda. Ha's been doing presentations for a really long time with us here at the library, and now she's coming to us virtually here in the library studio. This event was made possible in part by the Institute of Museum and Library Services, so thank you very much. Also, if you have any questions throughout the entire event, please feel free to post those in the comments on either YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're watching us from, and we will get to them during a Q&A time. So without any further ado, I'd like to bring on Ha. Ha, how are you doing today?
Good. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you so much.
It sounds like you said, aha. Hi, how are you? It's kind of fun to transition from live to online. I enjoy the live more, but I get to do online still, so it's fun either way. But today we're going to talk about Vietnamese pizza. But before we actually go in the cooking part, because the cooking is really fast, everything's prepped and it's very easy to do. I wanted to go a little bit dive into the culture, the Vietnamese culture, and who I am, so you share with you who I am at the same time. So we're going to have a little bit of a summary what we're going to do. So Josh is going to bring up a little bit of a PowerPoint to show you what our priorities, the step by step. Okay, so this is what it looks like, the pizza. And the next, we're going to have an introduction of Pho Queen. Pho Queen, that's me, who I am. And we're going to show you one thing about making the pizza. We use rice paper instead of your traditional flour. Okay, so we'll show you how the rice paper is being made. And then we're actually going to make it ourselves. And then Josh and I get to taste it. All right. So, real quick, my name is Ha Rhoda, and I call myself Pho Queen. And some of you, or a lot of you, probably know pho, because pho is a very common Vietnamese dish now, and it's very popular. It's a soup dish. So I'm a Vietnamese culture specialist and a Vietnamese cook, and I was born and raised in Vietnam. My family, the whole family, that is my parents and the siblings, we all escaped in 1978 after the Vietnam War. So we were known as the boat people. And then this is a quick picture of not our boat, but it's a boat of Vietnamese, similar to that. That's how crowded it. I just wanted to share with you what it looks like. We didn't actually take a picture when we were there, so we didn't have a camera, so we didn't think of doing that. However, this is what it looks like when we were on our journey. So my background, totally different from cooking. I was a computer science background. And then I transitioned to do other things like computer graphics. And then when I had my kids, I decided to stay home and got into cooking. So I started writing a cookbook called A Vietnamese Kitchen. And it was nominated for James Beard Foundation Award. And there it is, the cookbook. Really quick that you can see. And when I was doing my demonstrations, there's a lot of people asking, a Vietnamese kitchen, what does that look like? So I thought I'd share. So this is a traditional Vietnamese kitchen. That's what I grow up with. Just, like you would think going camping, right? And we'll use coal. And I remember when I was growing up, we just discovered coal. So we make the coal with our hands and we let them out, and it lasts longer than just the wood. But this is how we cook. And then go ahead, next one. And this is our countertop. As you can see, there's no countertop. We sit and you're probably wondering, you see a lot of Asian people and they squat a lot, and we're flexible because we grow up like that. A lot of people here in America can't squat as well because, you didn't grow up that way. And my husband just tried to do that himself at home, and he can't do it because he's a silly white guy. But I came back in Vietnam in 2016. And that same kitchen that you saw has now been remodeled, and now it looks like that. It's nice because it has all the utensils, all we needed. However, go ahead to the next. We still cook on the ground because you know why? there's more space, the ground, because if you see the countertop on the other, it's just narrow, so that you can't just lay out everything. So everything's laid out on the ground. It's more convenient, and we're used to it. But old habits never die. So I've been doing demonstrations on the West Coast, not Tampa, West Coast, but I've been doing it since all the way in Los Angeles, long time ago, until now here in the East Coast. Here I am. So I moved here. And so from coast to coast. So go ahead and so we're going to go ahead and go straight into talking about the rice paper. Now, a lot of you probably are familiar with the rice paper, which is very, very nicely thin rice paper. And you can see through almost. It's so thin. So I'm going to show you, Josh is going to get us into the video on how to make it. And there's going to, before you start, let me give them a little bit something. It's in Vietnamese. So I'm going to translate it from Vietnamese to English. It's not verbatim. It's not exactly everything that the narrator is saying. It's a story about her and her hometown and how rice paper has came into their family and how they made it. And then it's the process from creating from scratch up to today's date, where there's machineries and things that helps advance and just also show you the culture of Vietnam in that way. So I thought it was a very interesting piece. So go ahead and we'll go ahead and start. Thank you, Josh. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to talk in the background as the video is being shown. So working in the city is always busy. My mom often visited and brought special items from our hometown, especially several stacks of the rice paper made from our hometown. She knows I love eating those rice paper because it is one of my favorites. So each has been made very skillfully by the people from my hometown.
Phải có vài sắp bánh tráng. Vì mẹ biết tôi mê ăn bánh tráng này lắm. Những chiếc bánh tráng được làm từ đôi bàn tay khéo léo của người dân quê tôi.
So my hometown is filled with silver rice field. It is the main material we use to make the rice paper, and the delicious aroma of the jasmine rice can be smelled miles away. I remember hearing the stories from my grandmother about how we started the rice paper business. At the beginning, we just learned how to make the rice paper to make for the holidays, for family, for friends, and especially as gifts. It is soft and chewy and full of fragrance. Because we made a lot of it, you can smell the aroma from far, far away. It became popular through word of mouth. Then we became the rice paper maker for my hometown.
Thế là quê tôi có thêm làng nghề bánh tráng.
Ooh, this is good. Okay, so to make a good rice paper, you have to be meticulously and skillful. So number one, choose the jasmine rice with the right firmness and full of fragrance. You soak the rice for 2 to 3 days, and the water you have to use to soak the rice has to be clean and pure from the water well. So each day they had to be separated the rice from the water and add new water so the rice won't become sour and stale.
Nhiều muối quá thì bánh làm ra sẽ bị mặn, còn nếu không đủ muối
So
thì
the
bánh
rice
sẽ
is
bị nhạt,
chewier
không ngon.
and more fragrant, and adding the right amount of salt, not too much, or it'll be salty, and not too little, then there will be no flavor and not tasty.
Sau khi ngâm gạo xong thì đem đi xay thành bột.
So after soaking, then start to process into flour.
Gạo
And in the
xay khô
past, they
được
used a
cho từng
manual
chiếc gạo
process of
vào
churning and
miệng cối,
grinding,
thêm
adding
một chút
water
nước
and
rồi
rice.
xoay vòng.
You can smell the aroma of rice
Theo nhịp
being
tay
grinded
xoay
into
đều,
flour,
từng
just
vùng bột
like the
trắng
little
thơm
ones
ngút
that you
mùi
see
gạo,
in the
nhẹ
video.
nhàng chạm
You
vào
can.
thố.
I was sitting like that,
Hồi còn nhỏ,
and we
tôi và
watched
bà
my
cụ
grandmother
thường hay
making the
ngồi trên
rice
võng trước
flours. I
hiên
can
nhà
remember
để xem
that
bà xay
distinctly.
bột.
Now, less labor
Gần
intense,
đây,
we use
để
a
làm
machine
nhanh
that
và
takes
đỡ tốn
15
sức
to
hơn,
20
bà
minutes to
con xã
process
tôi chuyển sang
50
xay bột
kilogram
bằng
of
dây
rice
điện.
that is much more
Chỉ cần từ
smoother and
15 đến
less
20
clumpy.
phút là đã xay xong
So
50 kg gạo. Bột xay ra mịn màng hơn và ít bị đóng cục.
And then now, our hometown, we make the baskets from the coconut
Người dân quê
leaves.
tôi phơi bánh
So
bằng
everyone
lá
in the
dẻ
neighborhood
từ
know
hạt.
how to make the baskets out of the coconut leaves, but no one can do it better than Uncle Four. He lives at the end of the street in the neighborhood. Uncle Four is almost 60 years old, and he learned the process since he was a little boy. To the rhythm and the skillful of his hand, within 5 minutes, he completed a basket to hold the rice paper for drying. Even though quickly he guaranteed it to be tight and can be used for a long time. After
Từ bánh
completed,
tráng này,
we can place the rice paper to dry right away. So at the beginning, the leaves are still green. After many days of drying, the leaves turns yellow.
tráng bánh là công đoạn kỳ công.
So making the rice
đòi hỏi
paper
sự
is laborious, careful, and detailed process. Placing the tight piece of material on top of the hot steaming pot of water. Pour the right amount of liquid flour, spread it thinly to a shape of a circle quickly on top of the fabric. Close the lid, then with the quick and skillful hands to detach the rice paper from the fabric. It has to be just right or it'll rip. If you're too slow, then the flour gets clumpy. It takes about 5 seconds to complete the cooking. Use the roller and gently remove the rice paper, place it on the basket and let it dry.
Tác thật đều tay thì chiếc bánh mới tròn đều. Nếu làm mạnh tay thì bánh sẽ bị rách, còn làm chậm quá thì bột sẽ bị đóng cục. Tráng bánh xong thì đĩa nắp lại, khoảng 5 giây là bánh chín. Sau khi bánh chín, dùng một cây lăn có cuốn vải, nhẹ nhàng lấy bánh ra và trải lên dĩa, chuẩn bị đem đi phơi. Những hôm nắng to,
So on the
trời
dry
khô,
and less
khi
humid
bánh
days,
rất nhanh khô,
we allow the rice paper to dry. Every 20 minutes, we take them in and replace them with new batches. So the rice paper turned white with the basket weaved imprinted on the paper and pleasing to the eyes. So we learn to watch the weather and must time it just right when it doesn't rain. If it doesn't get to dry, the batch will turn sour overnight and we have to throw them away.
mẹ tôi nói phơi bánh ăn thua ở khâu tìm hiểu dấu hiệu của thời tiết. Đoán được trời mưa hay nắng thì mới quyết định tráng bánh. Bánh không được phơi khô, để qua đêm là bị chua, xem như công sức đổ sông đổ biển.
So once dry, we remove the rice paper from the basket dryer very carefully and gently. We do not want them to break. So at the beginning, when I was little, my hands were too hard and not gentle, so I often break the rice paper. But over time, I became faster and better. So rice paper
là
is
thịt
always available in dishes such as pork, shrimp, and herbs. The rice cakes from my town has wonderful fragrance, soft and chewy. It does not fall apart and it adds to the flavor of the food. So I remember back then when we were able to sell rice, my mom would buy a little bit of meat and shrimp. We wrap the boiled meat or shrimp with noodles, mint, Thai basils, and other herbs, and even cucumbers. You do not have to go far, just a few steps into the garden in our backyard and see all the available herbs. When outside, it can be pouring rain, but inside, we were safe and enjoying our meal with the rice paper dipped in spicy fish sauce.
chuối chát mà không cần kiếm đâu xa, chỉ cần bước chân ra vườn là thấy. Ngoài trời mưa rả rích, ngồi trong nhà được ăn món bánh tráng cuộn thịt heo chấm nước mắm ớt thì không món gì ngon bằng. Những khoảnh khắc sum họp cùng
So
gia đình.
family gathering, enjoying the food and each other's company. No matter where I go, I would never forget.
Giờ đây, cuộc sống
Now,
của người dân
the life of the people in my hometown is less difficult in regarding the making of the rice paper. The machinery has replaced the pots and the manual labor, increasing the amount of productions much more than before. Before, to make 100 rice paper, it takes an hour. Now, with the machine, it's only a